Hey there, welcome to another edition of the vlog. I'm about to start my seller call in just about a minute. I've been running around all day. I started at Kansas City. I went to see a hotel yesterday just south of Kansas City. And it was a very interesting hotel, $300,000 in net revenue, $600,000, pardon me, in net revenue for $3 million bucks. So it's a 20 cap or so, just under 20 cap. And today with myself and Roland, we rushed over here in Rochester, New York. We're north of New York, really, pretty much north of New York, and looked at a whole bunch of property here as well, which is an extremely good deal, which I'll get into a little bit later. But right now I'm going to start the seller call. Lots have happened today. Got a deal closed this morning, 140 units with Nick Karanopoulos and Rodrigo and with Ralph. So we're going to get started real quick on the seller call. Enjoy this call here. I've got to get this thing started right now. Let's get things rolling along and let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to an exciting edition of the seller call. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Hoping the internet connection is okay where I am. I'm traveling, been traveling like a banshee for the last couple of days. Literally hustle, early in the morning to late at night. I was in Kansas City all day yesterday and the surrounding area. Made it in quite late and then hustled over to New York, where we're taking a look. We're finished taking a look at a series of properties, 64 units in total, and just trying to crush it here, which is almost $1 million in revenue with these two properties combined. We're looking at about $1 million in revenue per year in passive income, which is pretty exciting. So anyway, Sam, good to see you. I know we have all sorts of usual suspects here. I hope you guys are doing well. Today's call is actually a call that's fairly a little bit on the exciting side. It's a $100 million deal. You heard me correctly, $100 million. And I don't know if any of you have negotiated a $100 million deal before, but it's pretty much the same as any other deal, but with a lot more zeros. So is anyone here interested in picking up a $100 million deal for pennies on the dollar? I don't know if you are. Look, it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. It's all about figuring out how to make this happen. So luckily, you need some deep pockets to do this deal. But first, let's figure out if it's a good deal or a bad deal. It takes the same amount of effort to make 100,000, 10,000, or $1 million or anything else. And before I go any further, congratulations to Nick Karanopoulos, Ralph Nader, and Rodrigo Muriel, who closed on a deal today. 140 units. Congratulations. I'm going to put my video for that. Hopefully you guys can see my video. Congratulations. 140 units, which is going to be about $150,000 a year, give or take a few thousand, every single year for the rest of their lives. So congratulations to them. They've just increased. They bought the property for $2.6 million. And it's a series of apartments that will actually has a $5 million value because the NOI is just under $500,000, and we'll bring that up to about $6 million and then sell it probably for market value close to 2021 when the World Games get into Birmingham. So congratulations to them. They're instant millionaires. Literally, they closed on it today. They are now have a net worth of over $1 million, actually over $2 million, $2.5 million. That's what they just increased their net worth to. So congratulations to them. And the Three Musketeers are on the go. So congratulations to them for doing that. Great start to the year. So I'm going to take my video off, and we're going to get into this New York deal. All right. So let me do this, unblock this camera, and then go from there. All right. But you're still sharing your webcam. Okay. I don't know if I'm sharing this or not, but I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but whatever. The technology is abandoning me. Can you guys hear me okay? Let's get into the scheme of things.
Yes, hello.
Oh, hi, Michael. This is Roland.
Roland, how are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year. I'm here with my business partner, Marco, and
Yeah.
we're just traveling, so he had a few more questions, so I thought we give you a quick call.
Okay, not a problem. So how are we doing with So tell me, what can I answer?
Okay. Hi. It's Marco. How are you?
Hi, Marco. How are you?
I'm well. Happy New Year.
Happy to you.
It's I don't know at what point we stop saying Happy New Year. I don't know if it's like the 20th of January or 1st of January, but
It's
at one
about
point,
being friendly, you know?
Yeah, no.
I take it as
Yes.
friendliness, and I love friendliness.
Yes,
So,
okay.
no problem.
Yes,
Tell
I
me
know.
happy
Now this is unusual if it's a New Yorker. This property that we're talking about is in New York. It is hey Sanjay, hopefully you're well. And this is all about obviously in New York. If you're too friendly, they eat you alive. So you have to have a. I'm trying to be a little bit on the funny side at the very beginning to get into the agent's good side because he is. This is an off-market property. You can't find it anywhere. This is through knowing someone that knows somebody else to get to somebody else. So this is not something that is just available. These properties. This is an entire building, a small building in New York City now, Manhattan. So we're looking at I'm going to get into the math in a second. I know if you're from New York, if someone's nice to you, you're like, what's wrong with this guy? Why I'm being scammed? Something's wrong.
Exactly.
I lived in New York long enough to know that.
The flu.
Yes, he can't be nice to people, or it looks bad. Anyway, so but I am anyway. I'm not that person. So I understand. I've been in the background, sort of watching this, and looking at where has this thing got under contract yet? This building that
Not yet, but there's serious interest, and they've been working out the details.
Okay, so are we too late then to hop in, or because I know that Roland and I were discussing
Never too
late.
Look,
Okay,
never too late.
so what's
Never too late. And,
what's it looking
it's
like
my
right
job to present everything.
Yes, of
Huh?
course. So where are we at? Where do we need to be to make this happen?
You need to be over 25 million.
All right. So you did hear correctly. We need to be over 25 million. So they're asking. This is a property that's a value of over 25 million. We're going to get into what the value is actually. Remember, the cap rates in New York are about 4%. 4 or 5% in New York is a very good cap rate. So I'm going to go over the numbers in a second as to what the project is. It's a big project. There's a lot of zeros to this. But you'll see that the mechanics are fairly the same. The only difference is that you need some access to buku bucks. And anyway, so let's keep talking here. Let's go see what we can find out. Like how much over 25 million? Like 25 million and $1? 25 million and
So I don't know. I would do 25.5 or something like that.
Okay. So anything over 25 million you think would be okay?
I think we'll be okay. But, the owner is not going to be willing to sign the letter of intent.
All right. So to give you a little history, we popped a letter of intent. We started on the fairly low side. We were under 20 at the first offer. The owner is extremely emotional. They bought the property. It's been in their family for a while. Extremely emotional. Wants to get rid of it because he's going through a change of I don't know what's going on with him, but something emotional has happened, and he needs to bow out of it. And we're basically trying to figure out how to manage the expectations of the seller, and at the same time manage the expectations of the agent, because in New York things can get aggressive.
And he's okay. Normally, in a regular transaction with a regular seller, letter of intent is the regular thing to do, Mm-hmm. But in this case, this fellow is not in the business, and he's a very nervous guy. So he gets suspect about everything. Mm-hmm. So, and with good reason, because we've had letters of intent in the past, and they haven't gone anywhere. But so it's basically would be a straight deal, cash, no contingencies, mm-hmm. And then he wants to. Yes, that's basically it.
Gotcha.
Ideally, he would like to stay until the construction starts. 6 months or something like that. He didn't want to pay rent. All kind of weird stuff. But in any event, if the offer is 25.5, I think something can be. All right. So what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out exactly what the seller needs, so I can create an offer that's going to make them happy. Because we've been turned down on a few cash offers with extremely fast closings. And we're trying to figure out exactly what happened, because we were at the heat of, just before the holidays, we were in the heat of negotiating this thing and pretty much almost there.
and then something took a turn sideways. So I'm trying to figure out exactly, and I've been completely absent from the conversation at this point, like 100%. I've been focused on really letting Roland do a lot of the negotiations here. And now by me coming in as they go sideways, we can see if we can resurrect things. So there's an advantage to sort of playing good cop, bad cop, if you will.
Definitely, we should propose it.
What's happening with the business? Is he just shutting it down?
No, he wants to continue the business, but basically he doesn't want to just fire everybody. He wants to get the money and then relocate and hopefully continue somewhere else.
Understand.
Smaller. He probably will be renting.
Gotcha. Do you know?
He also mentioned a 1031 exchange. I mean, he's all over the place. So again, he's nervous, as I told you,
Yeah.
and with good reason. He's been there. This is his home, not his home, but I mean, he's been his base, and so there's a lot of emotion as well as the financial consideration.
I understand. Yeah, it's emotional sellers are.
So I tell you all this. So when we start negotiating, I mean, you just like are patient and realize that I have to present the offers in a very tactful way, and so on and so forth. But basically, you should definitely put an offer through.
Okay, so what's going on right now is he's dealing with a difficult seller. If you read between the lines, so he's having to tiptoe around the seller, which I understand is quite emotional because we've tried to do a few things to get this thing buttoned up, and even offer to name the building after, put the name of the seller and call it that building, and do a whole bunch of different things. So we've tried a lot of different creative strategies to get this thing across the finish line. And I'm going to go over the numbers in just a second, and you'll see how what the positive upswing is of this. So just keep listening.
Now, as far as the offer goes, if I could be, normally he would want to see something called proof of funds.
That's fine.
Official letter.
That's fine.
From a bank saying, yeah, exactly, perfect. And that's what it is.
Well, no problem. The money's not the problem. The question really is terms. So he wants to stay for 6 months, even though, because that would kind of get messy.
This is okay. First of all, you tell this guy something, and then he wants more. I mean, he's one of those, right?
I understand. Yeah.
So basically, we're gonna negotiate forever, but because it's very indecisive. But that's not here, not there. He needs to sell. There are many reasons why he needs to sell. I'll tell you later as we become more confident with each other, or maybe we exchange some confidentiality paper.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not in financial distress or anything like that. It's just basically life choices. He needs to make life choices at the moment, something related to health, stuff like that.
I understand.
So I'll explain more later. Promise.
I believe you.
But basically, that's basically it. So the best way would be to submit an offer with proof of funds, and then I'll take it from there.
Sounds good.
And a closing date of I don't know what's your ability.
All right. So when someone asks you what your ability to close is, you're posturing as a cash buyer, which I will always posture as a cash buyer, whether it's 1 million, 5 million, 100,000, or 50,000, or 25,000, or $10. I'm not going to be using my money anyway. And 25 million is actually easier to find if you know where to look than it is to find $1 million. The bigger the properties, with the higher the returns, the easier the money is. It's very difficult for people that have that kind of cash to make a very high return. The average cap rate in New York is very similar to what it is in Toronto, which is at 5%. At 6%, people are doing backflips. It would be a huge win if we could get it at a 6 cap. So we're looking at values that are not 10 caps anymore. We're looking at right on New York City, Manhattan, in the heart of Manhattan, in a very good area of Manhattan. And we're looking at an entire building. So these are big numbers that are either retail space and or condo space. So we're going to get into what we could sell it as, either as a living facility, or if we did retail, or not office, but something a little bit more spectacular. So listen carefully.
Our ability is to close as soon as we can.
Yeah.
As long as title is done, I don't know how long it takes in the city to.
I have a title search at the moment through Stewart Title that I can send you, and then what you would need to do is update the title.
When was that done?
Maybe a year ago.
Okay. All right.
Nothing has changed, and I know they did it as a favor to me, free of charge, because they want the business. But again, title, you pay by statute. It's the same everywhere, right?
Yep.
So, although very expensive, it shouldn't be, but that's the way it is.
Yep.
So the update of the title insurance, I think it will take somewhere around 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. And the fellow that I'm dealing with is the regional president for the Northeast.
Okay.
So you're in good hands.
Okay. And for renovation costs in the building, have you priced that out at all? Do you know how much that would cost?
Yes,
Okay, so this is an older building and it needs to be updated. So let's see what needs to be done to this. So this is his plan.
I have informal estimates, right? So, when I was talking to Roland, I was telling him that the idea was to make a glass bubble facade and make it a semi-iconic building, that would be visible and so on and so forth. And so for that work, I have a lamination glass company that has put a bid for $440 for the front facade. Cleaning each floor is going to be about $36,000.
Okay, so there's 5 floors, by the way. All right, so $36,000 times 5 floors. All right, is $180,000. There's $440,000 for the glass. We're putting a glass facade on the property. We're at $620, and let's keep going.
You have to build an extension in the back with steel, and they should be, we have a design which is basically this sort of mezzanines throughout the building, and then enclose everything on a glass curtain. So for the whole project, without the glass curtain in the back, it was about $1 million. So maybe, and this is basically.
Okay, so we said $1 million without the glass curtain in the back. So basically, what he's proposing is glass facade, clean out each floor down to the studs at $36,000 a floor, and then do something to the back.
Being a broker, right, and being optimistic. So I budgeted about $1 million. You should double that.
Yeah.
Budget $2 million.
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
that would keep you safe. Yeah. And then there is something, the New York has passed something called the Green Building Act, which will allow buildings that are retrofitted along this fashion to utilize a lot of glass everywhere. For example, the front facade it's an ideal thing, because if you look at the new regulations that they propose, I have it, by the way, I can send it to you. You definitely would be able to use natural light from the north side of the building. So that basically would be encompassing this front glass bubble facade. It would be perfect. 2, on the roof, there are no air rights. So basically you have 5 floors and the roof. And the only way to utilize the roof to maximize the square footage to about 1375, maybe even 14, because I didn't calculate extending the front facade by about 6 feet. I will depict all that in.
Okay, so we're at 14,000 square feet after renovation, just so you guys understand the math later. So there's 14,000 square of workable, rentable feet, and we're gonna trim that down to 11,000 square feet. I'm gonna take 3,000 square feet for mechanicals, air conditioning, possible elevators, all that stuff. So those are called common areas. So I'm just going to call it 11,000 square feet after. So I'm being quite generous on 3,000 square feet being gone over 5 floors.
In some diagram, you are ending up between 1375 and maybe 1400 square feet of retail space. That would include the basement. The basement at the moment is half; it's not full. But in New York, you can extend the basement to the lot line. So that would incorporate another 1,000 square feet, and then how to unite both areas into a retail thing is you would build a very wide staircase that would go from the first floor to the second to the basement, creating sort of like a double ceiling space, and making the property quite special. And in the back, instead of like keeping the regular walls that you have, you would blow them out. You would extend these things with the steel platforms, and then enclose it with glass, and that's how you maximize the space. Basically, there are also two staircases. According to code, you have to have them, but pursuant to this green building initiative, you may be able to use those staircases and put atrium or some sort of like a lighting feature, not lighting feature, but window feature that will come from the roof to illuminate the entire space. In keeping with this green building initiative, which is excellent. So that's basically the project. Basically,
That sounds like about 5 million.
That's
What you're describing is about 5 million.
So what he's proposing is to extend by 6 feet and enclose the back with glass. And he's saying 2 million. I'm going to say 5. We can even split the difference at 3 million. So we're going to get over the numbers anyway, whether it's 2 million, 3 million, or whatever that is. Now he's going to disagree with me, of course, but we'll see. We'll see what the estimates are.
I have I'm sorry to interject, but I have a diploma from NYU. I mean, I graduated from Stern, but NYU, right, in finance. But I did also the Real Estate Board of New York, and I know construction estimating, and actually have a program.
Fair enough.
And my program was giving me about $1 million on cost.
For the blowout with the glass? For the glass in the back, extending?
For the blowout with the glass.
Everything,
yes.
everything is $1 million. They're saying
Yeah,
so.
yes. I mean, that's calculated by the computer, price of glass and all the other stuff and so on. But again, it's always good to double it.
Yes.
I don't think it's the structure is steel.
Yes.
The elevator is new, so you have most of the components are all new. So the back extension should be simple, and if the front is 440, and in the 440 we were calculating 250 a foot for glass. That not any glass, it would be laminated and designed and so on and so forth. Have you been in New York lately, or
I'm actually in New York right now.
New York?
I'm in New York City right now.
So 57th Street, for example, there is the Chanel store that has this glass that is bluish like that.
Yep.
So that's basically what we were envisioning for the front. Something a little more creative than that. Something with triangular shaped glass that would come up sort of like a Fabergé egg, if you will. And so the back should be less money. But the millions should cover you because the front facade is 6 and change. For the basement excavation, we calculate about 100. Each floor for cleaning, each floor is about 36. And then the extension shouldn't be much because again, it's going to be they're going to be made of steel beams and then just flooring. So flooring and veranda and so on and so forth, and then the glass bubble in the back.
Okay.
And
what?
Sort of attractive. So it would be like a very, very open and airy space, which would be, in my opinion.
So this is what he's talking about. This is not lit, but it's kind of a bluish tint. I don't know if you can see that, but that's basically what he's proposing to do something with the building. So it's a very long building like this. It's 5 stories. There's a rooftop as well. No air rights, as he mentioned before, and to do something that with 5 floors all in glass in this exact way, front and back, so you have a nice retail space.
Deal for a mini department store, which I am thinking that's going to be the highest and best use for the building.
Okay. And what? at that point, it'll be all retail, or would it be a combination of retail and office, or what makes?
No, forget office. No.
So basically, I'm for those of you that are just joining us, we have a whole bunch that have just joined us. Welcome. We're talking about a property in New York City that is for sale, private sale, and we're trying to figure out exactly what it's going to cost to acquire it, what it's going to cost to renovate it, and what we can actually rent it for, what the retail would go for in that area. So we're going to go over the numbers, and then you can tell me if it's a good deal or not.
I would think that the retailer, once it's done, this is going to have a huge appeal to an international global retailer. And the people that I had in mind, for example, was Athleta, that it's a new line from the Gap, also Lululemon. Then there's another company called Davide Cenci, which is an Italian company, which is they used to have a store in Madison, very popular in Europe, and it would be perfect for the location. So any one of those, and similar to those, basically. For example, Chipotle expressed interest, but they only wanted, I couldn't get through to the guy. He was too thick. He didn't envision a whole thing. But a retail thing for a garment, I think it would be ideal because, you have Bloomingdale's on Lexington, right? And Barney's on Madison. So the amount of people that go to and from that store, hundreds of tourists a day. Yes. They're all shopping, so it's like a really, it's a river of very good public for retail.
I'm familiar with the location.
Yeah, 60th Street, it's the last commercial street on Park, right? Mm-hmm. Then 61st, you cannot do this. All the way further up, you can. So all the people on Park, they will need somewhere to go shopping, And then the Midtown District, they just increased the density by 30%. I have the material, I'm sure you do too. So that means there's going to be a lot of construction of the office buildings there. So more people. And then the Second Avenue line was just opened on January 1st. So the place is going to be, it's going to be a mini 33rd Street, basically. But on the Upper East Side, which is what you want, because 33rd Street, where Macy's is a different public, right? So that's the concept.
Understood. Okay, and what price per square foot are we looking at as far as on a retailing?
All right, so now we're going to get to the good part. All right, what is it that we can make on this deal if we get to a deal? So and then we'll reverse it. So what I'm trying to figure out now is what are we prepared to pay based on what the revenue can be gotten. All right, now remember, this is New York City real estate, so we're not doing no 10 caps. The 10 caps don't exist. All right, so if you get a 10 cap in New York, it sells immediately. Again, and there's a few $1 million that has to be put in here. It's not a public sale. It's a private sale. It's being done through, and we're dealing with an extremely emotional seller, which is not good for the seller, and it's terrible for the broker, but it's fantastic for us. It gives us opportunity. So if we can get in and actually get this done properly. Now, I happen to be in New York right now, and if it would serve me, and if it would be up to me, which is exactly what is going to happen, is I'm personally going to go and sit down with the seller and get this deal hammered out, depending on what the numbers are. And I've already worked this out, but I want to work this out live with you guys watching as you see exactly what kind of deal this is and the opportunity that this has. So, so far it's been a fantastic 2017. We had a closing a couple weeks ago, close to mobile home parks in Georgia. Today, Nick and his crew, the Three Musketeers as I call them, they closed on 140 units. We have Barbara that flipped another property. She made $100K on that deal on a flip. There's just all sorts of activity going on. And Roland, 64 units, a hotel that's coming up here. Just all sorts of really great deals that are hitting. And if you guys are not super active right now, you're insane. You're just wasting a huge opportunity. There's going to be a really good buying time right now. I haven't seen this many good deals in a while, and you guys are, which is good. If you don't get involved, it's better for me because we have more deals for us, but there's tons of deals to be had, guys. and you really should be really should get in on it before you're just wondering why the hell this is this is not what you think it should be. You really need to get into this right now.
If we put in, let's say we're all in for about 28 million. Just trying to figure out what the upside is.
For example, are you familiar with the Blumberg building around
Yes.
the corner?
Mm-hmm.
They have on the first floor and basement, they have like a indoor retail gallery or something, right? With many small spaces, about 1,000 to 1,500 square feet. They are renting at the moment for something like 1,500 a foot. That would be inclusive of electric and so on and so forth. And those are not very visible. You actually have to know where it is to get there. So this one, I am projecting, that you could probably get $1,500 a foot for the entire building, and that is major bucks.
Okay, $1,500 a foot. That's a rental. That's high-end retail. All right, $1,500 a foot. Now I'm going to say that we're going to go at $1,400 a foot, and there are 14,000 square feet. But I'm going to assume that we're going to shave off about 20% of that, so about 3,000 feet, which I am being a little higher on the. We could probably get down to a lot more than that, but I'm going to say 11,000 square feet. Okay. And so we're going to be grossing, look at this number now, $15,400,000 per year. All right, that's a yearly rental, and then there's rental increases. So we start off at $1,400 a foot and increase to probably 15. This is on a major street in New York City. It's in a very good area of New York City, and it includes a rooftop area, which we're going to get into a second. Now, not all this will be profit. Let's do this times 0.6. So you're looking at about $92 million, $9.2 million, forgive me, not 92 million. I'm sorry, I'm slightly retarded today, a little sleepy. All right, so we're looking at about $9 million in gross revenue per year. Sorry, net revenue per year. 15 million gross, about 9 million net per year. Divide that by a 5 cap. All right, which is what we're looking at. We're looking at a $184 million building. I'm going to say this again: $184 million for this possible deal that we're trying to get into for under 30 million all in. So I know these are huge numbers, but again, if the numbers make sense, we can always find the investor, and it's going to be an investor that's going to probably take most of the profit because they're going to be coming up with most of the money and most of everything. But if we get into a deal that is 184 million bucks and we just make, I don't know, 5% of that, would you be okay with a $9 million payday if we were just to make a 5% chunk change on that and pass it on to whatever fund is looking to buy this? And there's tons of funds that have that kind of cash. A $30 million fund is a very small fund that could do something for, and to turn that 30 million into 180 something million dollar building would be a huge windfall, which would ultimately be the strategy is you renovate it, you fill it, and you sell it for something like a 5 cap or a 6 cap, in which case you're still at over $150 million. So it's a huge opportunity. I don't know if, it's a lot of zeros. And does that scare anybody or excite anybody? Wendy, would you like something like that? Yasmin, would that be something cool? Ralph, Randy, Raymond, good to see you on the call. It's pretty neat. Now, the deal's not done yet. Obviously, the first call was today. We've been going back and forth, but would it be worth me going to New York, tying this up, doing a closing, and then finding the cash to be able to do it? The worst case scenario is I don't find the cash and the deal's done. But knowing what I know that I can find the cash because it is literally at pennies on the dollar, this deal. So if you understand and you have the knowledge, it comes down to intimate knowledge on how to do this. You can really make some killer bucks. All right. So there's a lot of people that have that kind of cash. I know, Nick, you know somebody that has that kind of money in their back pocket. I know you already have connections to that. There's some of you might not know that you have these kinds of connections, but you probably know somebody that might be doing something like this. So again, this is a $180 million, $200 million deal, depending on the cap rate. So if you're looking at a $9 million, so this is what $9 million looks like, all right? And if you're dividing this by a 4 cap, which is the general number in New York, it's a $225 million property. So to even flip this for $100 million, if you're buying this for 20 or 30 million and you sell it for 100 million, that's $70 million in profit. Which is a huge, huge deal that most people would never do in their lifetime. So you could do one deal and do more in one deal than most people do in a lifetime. So that's a pretty exciting deal if you have the balls to put it together. And again, all it does is there's no difference between doing a small deal that's 25,000 or 250,000 or 25 million. Just a couple zeros. There's really nothing that stops you. All right. So it's a pretty sweet opportunity.
And with your proposed, I don't have your diagrams or what the square footage would be after you.
Now, question I have for you guys is, since this is a learning opportunity for you guys, how excited do I sound? Do I sound super excited? Do I sound like, oh my God? Do I sound intimidated? Do I sound like I'm scared? Nonchalant is pretty much it. I have a hint of I don't give a shit. And I always do when I'm doing deals, because you can't get married to any deal. I had a call today with someone that was super excited about this deal and super excited about that deal. I'm like, dude, you have to stop being excited about any deal. It's just numbers, and if it comes together, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And what the neat part is if we do something cool with this, how neat would it be to say, not only to have 50, 60, 70 million, or even 5 million, I don't care. Even $1 million would be great. This could potentially be the biggest deal that students ever done if we can get this across the finish line. It's a $70 million possible profit. Could be a $100 million profit. Who knows? Again, we're just talking here. We're not, nothing's closed, so I don't want to get, too insane. No one roll your eyes, but the numbers are the numbers. It is what it is. At $1,400 a foot, this is what you get per year, times 11,000 square feet, which is the rentable space. And I'm trimming that down, guys. It's 14,000 square feet. You're looking at a $15 million. That's $15 million in revenue per year. And they have to, obviously that's including electric and that is, so let's take out 60, we're going to do 40% expenses. Just going to call it that. You're looking at $9 million in revenue. And the cap rate in not Toronto, but in New York is 4%. Let's say we did this at a 6 cap, all right? It's $154 million. So even at a 6 cap, it's 154. We're all in for 30. If we buy it for 25, put $5 million, that's $120 million profit. That's a really great number. I'll take it. Thank you very much. So it's a pretty sweet possible deal.
No proposition.
The total square footage after it would be 1375.
It's got 1,200.
Okay.
So about 1.8 million in revenue.
But I am saying 1375 because you have to leave some space that could not be retail for your air conditioning systems and things like that, right?
The cams,
so, right. So you need that outside or inside the bubble under a canopy or something.
What about the roof?
On the roof.
Can we do something with the roof?
Yes, the roof. Yeah, the roof you would enclose and put an atrium there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the inside space. We still have an extra space called the roof, which is a 6th floor, which adds more of revenue to the project.
Atrium is considered non-permanent structure, and it could be steel and glass, or could be.
So if we put an atrium on the roof, a steel and glass atrium, it's considered a non what you just said. It's non-permanent structure, meaning we could actually either build a restaurant, a bar. We could rent out the entire retail floor in the bottom, but keep the very top floor and rent that out as a restaurant, or do whatever we need to do, or a neat little bar area for that new growing area that they're doing in New York. They just opened up a stop in that area as well. It's upper Midtown. A lot of opportunity here. It's a pretty exciting deal the more I look at it.
The inflatable bubble or any combination thereof. An example of this technique is a restaurant called Serafina on 79th Street and Madison. They rented the 2nd floor, but they installed this bubble because they couldn't build. They wanted to build, but they couldn't. They have dismounted, so now they have 2 floors, second and third, and fully utilized. We can go for dinner and you know and make
See
it
what that
work.
looks like.
So the same concept you would be doing, and I think that the neighborhood would really enjoy that because who wants to be looking at an ugly roof, tall roof, right?
Right.
So that's going to be fine.
Okay.
Anyhow, all this is within the building code. I have also the building code is 3,500 pages, but I could point out the place where you can substantiate this, and then the Green Building Initiative that by 2020 will require all commercial buildings to be green
Understood.
in New York.
Okay. And that glass structure, would that only be for retail as well? Could we have a restaurant, bar? What would be the zoning for that?
You could have, with the rendering that I had, that I still have, it's just I pulled it off the web because we were, at the insistence of the person that it's currently negotiating. But I have all that, and basically, you could have a piano bar upstairs, so many things. People like to go, for example, for lunch to Barney's. There used to be a restaurant on the basement. Here you could have it on the roof. So it's I definitely would think about doing something like that.
Okay, very good. All right, all right. I think Roland has everything that.
All right, and then we start going over all the details of exchanging things and what we're wanting to do in our LOI and our actual offer and putting things together. So I know this is kind of might seem out of touch to every single one of you, but it's really not. If you market to lower end or higher end, it's just a matter of finding the right people that have the right contacts. Now, do I have $25 million cash lying around? Absolutely not. Do I know somebody that has $25-30 million cash? Absolutely. Now, knowing that, if you found a deal of that nature and you came up to me and said, hey, I had this awesome opportunity, there's plenty of room for us all to eat at this table. So when you have that kind of numbers, when you have $100 million to share in a pot, hey, if that mutual fund or that private equity fund came up and said, hey, we want 90% of this, we'll give you a 10% finder's fee, would I be okay with 10% of $100 million? Shit, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be 10 million bucks. Thank you very much. That'll I can retire for what, the next 10 minutes, because I can't sit still and my passion is really helping people. So even if I had $10 million sitting in my checking account right now, I'd still be doing what I do because I absolutely love doing what I do. So I've tried to retire a few times. So it's not how much money you have in the bank, but it's nice to have and really take care of your business. Would you guys quit your job if you had 10 million bucks coming? Of course you would. Now, what if it took a whole year to get that deal done? 2 years, worth every second. And that's the point, is if you don't have the knowledge and you're not sharpening your axe to be able to find these kinds of deals, it's going to be very difficult for you to get that going. So I thought I'd share that with you on the call. And sadly, I have to end the call a little bit sooner than I wanted to. I have a flight to catch. I have to go back to my next destination. It's today. This week's a busy week, and I have a Success Reflex this weekend. So I'm trying to squeeze as many of these things as I can before Success Reflex, because I'm going to be MIA after that. And so that's hopefully exciting for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Next thing is I have a couple students that have some pretty killer deals, 20 plus cap rates. I know we have some newer faces here and some unfamiliar faces. If any of you are interested in getting a property that has a 20% return and has financing built in, I have a property in Tennessee which is basically already approved for funding. You just have to put a little bit of cash in and you get a 20% plus. Actually, the leverage return is probably closer to 30 or 40%. Let me know. Send me an email at kembotrust@gmail.com. And it's the leverage return. So it's KEMBOTRUST@gmail.com. There's a couple 10, 12, 15 units that we got this week as well, which we might pass on to some of you that are interested. Again, there's two sides to this business. There's finding the deal, and then you can find it and close it on it yourself. or you can find the great cow that milks a lot of, that just has really great milk. And this is a producer. This thing produces a ton of milk, more milk than all the other cows. And sometimes you just don't want to keep the cow, you want to sell it. So some of you might want these cash cows that some of these people have found and just have too much on their plate. They can't necessarily buy it right now, but they would love to pass it on to some of you. And if you're interested in a cash cow, please send me an email. I just send you all my email and doing that. So you can be in the business of finding the cows. You can be in the business of just taking other people's cows that they found and buying those cows, so you don't have to work as hard looking for their cows. Or you can do both. You can find the cow and close on your own cow, which is what a lot of you are doing. It's why people pay me a large amount to be able to help them to do that, and learn how to make really great returns. So I have a couple cash cows that are available if you guys want them. So send me a quick email. Also, Success Reflex this weekend. Excited to see a handful of you. That's on the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Sold out for that. The next one is 17, 18, 19. If you guys want to participate, learn how to find some killer deals over a weekend. Nick attended that with his group, with Ralph and Rod. I can't forget, it's not just Nick, it's just three of them. It's just hard to say three people at the same time all the time in a different order. They learned how to get deals at Success Reflex. They just closed on 140 unit. So congratulations to them. And Success Reflex is by far the best, one of the better programs I have, because you really are hands-on 3 days, immersed in the process, and getting some great deals in at the same time. So come to Success Reflex if you can. It's one of the better programs I have. It's not cheap, but it's 100% worth it. Again, KemboTrust@gmail.com is my email. Love you guys. Got to go, and I will see you very soon. And I look forward to seeing what this deal brings. And shit, if we can do a $100 million deal, I'll be pretty damn pleased. I'll be looking for the next now $200 million deal. The bar just keeps going higher and higher. So it's not how much money you make, it's how much fun you have in the process. So thanks for being on the call, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was a good call. Hopefully you learned something, got a little excited, and that's what I want to see, is you guys just killing it, crushing it, having some fun, helping some people, and making some money at the same time. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Bye-bye for now. See ya.